What is going on, everybody? Today I will be previewing the 2024 college football schedule for Florida State. I will go through every game on their schedule and I will predict which games on the schedule I think they will win, and I will also predict which games on the schedule I think they will lose. But before we preview their schedule, let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel, because we upload daily college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing. And also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Florida State finished last season with a 13-1 record. Ultimately, they finished the regular season with an undefeated record and they got left out of the playoffs for a one-loss Alabama team. Whether you disagree with the decision to leave them out or agree with the decision to leave them out, I do think it is certain that Mike Norvell will keep this team near the top of the ACC. I truly believe Mike Norvell is one of the best coaches in college football. Florida State lost a bunch of talent and they are going to have a pretty new look team without players like quarterback Jordan Travis, running back Trey Benson, receivers Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, and the best defensive player on their team, Jared Verse. Despite ranking 83rd in the country for return in production, I expect this team to be really good again. They have a top 5 transfer portal class in the country on top of having a top 12 recruiting class in the country. They brought in a bunch of playmakers out of the transfer portal. They picked up DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback, and he is a very hard worker, and he could really elevate his game at Florida State. And then you add the 4-star receivers that he will throw to that Florida State picked up out of the transfer portal, Jalen Brown from LSU and Malik Benson from Alabama. They also picked up Roydo Williams at running back, and he could be a beast. Then they brought in a very good edge rusher from Georgia on the defensive side, and that guy is Marvin Jones Jr. I'm excited to see what all the new additions can do for this team, and I have no doubt that Mike Norvell is building something special at Florida State, and he's only getting started. But anyways, let's get into predicting their schedule, and they open the season playing a Week 0 game against Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. Georgia Tech is a very interesting team to me heading into next season. Brent Key had a pretty successful first season at Georgia Tech, leading them to a 7-6 record, which was their first winning record since 2018. Haynes King is one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC, and imagine if he takes that next step up in 2024. The offense returns 83% of production, which is top 7 in the country. The defense loses a lot, and the defense is going to be a big concern for this team heading into 2024. But Brent Key did revamp the coaching staff, and they signed former Duke coordinator. I do not think the defense will be great, but maybe it gets better. But I actually think Georgia Tech comes out to play their best game to open this season, so I actually have Georgia Tech pulling off the upset against Florida State, and I have Florida State moving to 0-1 to start the season. And I could very well be wrong about this prediction, but I am calling my shot. The next game of the season for Florida State will be a home game on a Monday against Boston College. The situation is looking a little bit difficult for Boston College heading into 2024. They lost their head coach, and I really don't know if they have the talent to take a step up in 2024. Bill O'Brien will be the new head coach, but I don't think Boston College will be great next season. I know that they returned their quarterback, but I'm just not very high on this team, and I think the ACC is going to be difficult for Bill O'Brien and this Boston College team in 2024. I think Florida State bounces back and beats Boston College in dominant fashion, so I have Florida State moving to 1-1 on the season. After their game against Boston College, Florida State will have a bye week, and then the following week they play Memphis at home. And Memphis is a team you should not take lightly. I expect Memphis to be a top contender for the 12-team playoffs next season. They are 26th in the country for return in production. The defense for Memphis has a lot of work to do, but the offense alone could lead them to win their conference. Seth Heineken is a very solid quarterback, and he will be back. They also brought in 20 transfers, and I expect this team to be pretty good. But I think Florida State will be good enough, and I don't see Florida State getting upset again. Definitely not in Tallahassee. So I have Florida State probably winning this game by double digits, and I have Florida State moving to 2-1 on the season. The next game for Florida State will be at home against ACC newcomer California. I really do think California is being slept on. Let's not forget that this team just made their first bowl game since 2019. They returned 73% of production on the team, which is top 14 in the whole country. They returned Jaden Awe, who is one of the best running backs in the country. They also have a top 5 transfer portal class in the ACC, and I really think California has potential to shock a lot of people next season, and maybe they take that next step up and win 8 or 9 games, because I do think they have some decent talent heading into next season. I have no doubt that this team will be better or just as good as they were last season, and I expect them to make some noise in the ACC, but Florida State is just on a different level talent-wise, and I think Florida State beats California and moves to 3-1 on the season. The next game for Florida State is on the road against SMU. SMU is also another ACC newcomer, and they are another team that could possibly make some noise. The defense was pretty solid last season, and when Preston Stone is healthy, that offense could put up numbers. The question is, are they good enough to compete with the best teams in the ACC? I really don't know. There's still a lot we have to learn about this SMU team and how they will match up in the ACC. And I think this could be a game that has Florida State on upset alert because it will be on the road against a team they aren't very used to playing. And I do think SMU will be a decent team, but again, I do have Florida State winning this game, and I have Florida State moving to 4-1 on the season. The next game for Florida State will be at home against Clemson. Last season, this game went into overtime, and it was a pretty competitive game. I expect the same type of game in 2024. Clemson should be a good team again. They return a decent amount of offensive production, and the defense is going to be good again because they are very deep on defensive talent. But I think Clemson falls short in this game again, and I actually have Florida State winning this game at home and move it to 5-1 on the season. And after their game against Clemson, they will have a bye week, and then they go on the road to play Duke. This could be a difficult road test for Florida State. I don't expect Duke to be great unless Malik Murphy elevates that offense to a completely different level, and if the defense stays playing at a pretty high level. They lose a lot of talent though, and I think this is a situation where the negatives outweigh the positives. Losing Mike Elko will hurt this Duke team short term, but we will see what new head coach Manny Diaz can do for this team long term. I just do not expect a great season from Duke, unfortunately, and I definitely have Florida State winning this game on the road against Duke and move it to 6-1 on the season. The next game for Florida State will be on the road against Miami. I think that Miami is going to be very good in year 3 under Mario Cristobal. Cam Ward is one of the top quarterbacks that they could have gotten out of the transfer portal, and the defense for Miami will only keep getting better. Say what you want about the bad coaching by Mario Cristobal, but 7-5 is still better than 5-7. And 9-3 or 10-2 for Miami would just be that next step up for this Miami team. And they definitely have the talent to compete for an ACC championship. I could see this game going either way, but I do think Florida State will be the better coached team, and I think Florida State finds a way to win a tough game on the road, so I have Florida State moving to 7-1 on the season. The next game for Florida State will be at home against North Carolina. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see North Carolina go 6-6 next season. I'm just not very high on this team. The only big thing that they have going for them is Amarion Hampton returning at running back. But let's be honest here, North Carolina is at the end of the road and Mac Brown is probably retiring soon. Drake May is gone and they rank 127th in the country for return in production. There's way too much to clean up on defense, and I really don't expect great things from North Carolina in 2024. Maybe they have a solid offense with Max Johnson at quarterback, but I definitely have Florida State winning this game and move it to 8-1 on the season because they should definitely have a big talent advantage in this game. And the next game for Florida State is a huge game on the road against Notre Dame. And I could see this game going either way, but I am just as high on Notre Dame as I am on Florida State. And I think Notre Dame having this game at home is big for this Notre Dame team. I think Notre Dame has a very underrated head coach in Marcus Freeman. And now you add Mike Denbrock as the offensive coordinator for this team. He was the offensive coordinator for LSU, who had Heisman winner Jaden Daniels. The big concern for Notre Dame has been their offense, and now they also added Riley Leonard, who I think is at least a slight upgrade from Sam Hartman at the quarterback position. And they also added Mitchell and Collins at receiver. This offense could really be elevated to a different level. And honestly, it feels unreal to say this, but this team honestly might be a national title contender, and I don't think this is a situation where they are overrated. They have a lot of talent on defense, and if that offense could be elevated to a new level under Mike Denbrock, then this team will be very dangerous, and I mean that. So I do have Florida State dropping a very close game on the road, and I have Florida State losing this game and moving to 8-2 on the season. But after their game against Notre Dame, they have another bye week. But then the next game for Florida State will be at home against FCS, Charleston Southern. This game will not be close. This is basically a situation where they have 2 bye weeks in a row, and there's no way Florida State loses this game, so I definitely have Florida State winning this game and move it to 9-2 on the season, and there's nothing much to say about that game. And of course, the final game of the season for Florida State will be at home against Florida. I think Florida could be better next season. They are very young, and believe it or not, they do have talent on the team. Graham Mertz is going to be back at quarterback, so that's pretty big for Florida. But I think Billy Napier is going to have a very rude awakening next season because Florida has a very brutal schedule, and it's one of the toughest I've ever seen. And it's going to hold them back, and even if they are a good team, they will have to fight just to make a bowl game. Florida might just be too beat up by the end of the season, and I think Florida State definitely takes advantage of that and beats Florida at home. So I have Florida State finishing the season with a 7-1 conference record and a 10-2 overall record. I do think a 10-2 record would set up perfectly for Florida State to play in the ACC championship game. I am still really high on this Florida State team, and I'm excited to see what they will do in 2024 with a lot of the new look faces that they will have on this team. But you guys let me know how many games you think Florida State will win in 2024 down in the comments below. But anyways, that's going to do it for the video. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel because we upload daily college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.